Hey y'all, I hope you're having a good November so far. Uh, with all the crazy changes that have been happening this month and everything. For me, um, the many big changes that happened in my life happened, I think, back in July. Yeah, when I, for the first time, after taking an intentional break from dating, like intentionally being single, and then I decided one day, after having enough time of counseling and time to myself, that it would be a good time to um, date again. I was ready, and it feels so different being ready compared to not. Just someone approaching me and saying, "Hey, you're single. Hey, so am I. Let's go out." And I was just unprepared. I could say that I said for me, I was unprepared as far as dating. I didn't have any standards. I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what red flags were. And so this time around, after 10 years of terrible, terrible experiences and abuse and things that even talking about them sometimes sounds weird that that was me. And so I definitely wanted to take the time to heal before I jumped back out there to find someone who was a real good man. And I had to just to discover for myself, well, what is a good man? And everyone has their own definition of what they think a good man is. And I think for me, what was it? My counselor said, "Have you tried online dating or dating apps?" And I was like, "You gotta be kidding. That's scary. Anybody could pretend to be whoever on there." And but he had a point in this. I don't. Not that it works for everybody, but for me, I could see where he was coming from. He was saying where at least there's profiles where if they mark their faith, um, and their job industry, their hobbies, and all that good stuff, and when you meet them and go on the dates, then really you can see if those things line up and everything. So I like that. It would be one of those where I don't have to wonder, it's already right there. And so I went on a couple dating apps, but I think the one that was most successful was the Hinge dating app. And I lined up four guys. I'm usually a one person at a time, but my aunt told me, you need to have the contrast, you need to compare. And so she's right. It was weird. I've never gone on one date after another before like that, but I guess that's what intentional dating is, taking this seriously, knowing what you're looking for, and so forth. And so, the first date I went on, he was a very nice guy. His profile mentioned that he was Christian, and then by the time I went on a date with him, he mentioned that he was a LDS Mormon, and I was like, okay, cool. And then also more information like that wasn't disclosed on his profile. It just said Christian, so I was like, okay, it would have been kind of nice to know because everyone's um, faith is different or how they were raised, and so that was not on there. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe they, I don't know, Christian and Mormon for them is one and the same. Don't ask me. I do not know. But the second thing I found out with this guy was that he had three kids, all under the age of 6. And I had to think, do I want to be a stepmom also? And this was also part of the intentional dating is asking yourself questions and wondering, do I want to bypass these things just for the sake of like, oh, this is a really sweet, really nice guy, has a good job, and is wonderful to his kids, talks wonderful about his kids, but it was just kind of one of those where I could just feel something was just, I don't know where he would find the time to date me because after our first date, I'd only hear from him every 3 days, and I was like, the man's probably busy with his job and his kids and college. So I was like, well, for me, that didn't work for me. I would like to have some scheduled time during the week. I mean, I have a full-time job too and everything, adulting, right, as they call it. So it's just kind of one of those where I was thinking, like, it'd be nice to know that there are some guaranteed time slots in the week to spend time with somebody. And so that was nice to learn about myself. That's what I wanted. That's what I need. um, Second guy, he was also very nice to begin with, and then in his I we were gonna watch a movie in his house, and when I walked into his house, it's hard to explain. As nice as he was, I I felt afraid. I could not put my finger on it. And for me, when that's with anything, whether it's a job or dating or any situation, and I have a thought of I can't put my finger on it, that something's not right. But we got through the movie. It was really nice. He had snacks and everything. And then he sits up straight and goes, I totally forgot. I put some beer in the freezer to try to get them cold faster, and I totally forgot I left them in there. And, I thought that his profile said that he doesn't drink, or I don't mind going out socially, but I don't like alcohol in the house and stuff like that. And he had mentioned, like, oh, I don't drink and stuff, and he had alcohol in his house, and there were other things that were just kind of opposite of what his profile was saying, and I didn't feel like continuing after that one. I was just kind of like, if there's even a hint of this person feels like they hide things, I don't want to go to. I know there's a time and a place to share things. There's that, and there's so much to getting to know somebody. But for me, I don't know. I like to feel safe. I want that. So that was another good thing to learn. The third guy was a very charming Romanian guy. Very charming. During the day, we had fun, hey, how was your day? And sometimes we bounce off Bible verses and stuff like that. And, hey, have a good rest of your day. And somehow, when evening came, like around 10 p.m., he would get very verbally inappropriate. And it was weirdly familiar to me from my past relationships where I knew how the conversation would go, and they'd almost be pushy about sexual things, and I would be like, can we change the subject, and almost hold you hostage in the conversation. And then the next day he'd apologize, and I was like, something's not right, and I can't put my finger on it, like I said. And I think I was right, because at some point had to block him, which was unfortunate. But my heart was definitely exhausted at this point, just after a week of only 3 dates. And I was like, you know what? This fourth guy, I just want to get it over with. I was thinking, maybe I jumped into this too soon. Maybe I'm not ready, or maybe the men out there aren't ready either. I don't know. I don't know what they're looking for anymore. What do good men, want? I come with all the hugs and encouragement and love stored up for the right guy. And it got to a point where I was really sad, where I thought, like, do men not want to, this might sound stupid, but I remember thinking and was really sad about it. I started thinking, do men not want to be loved anymore? Do men have a hard time receiving love anymore? And my heart hurt for a couple days before my last date, and I was just preparing for maybe the last one will finish me off and just throw me in the back of his truck and leave me in a field or be a jerk. I was just assuming the worst was going to happen. And I showed up to the restaurant. I walk in there. He's so cute and so polite, sitting at the table already with his hands just folded, all proper. And I was like, okay, you can't fool me, buddy. You can't fool me. But, sat down at the table, and time keeps going on, and he's got table manners. And he starts telling me a funny story about work, and I crack up so hard. Usually I can only make me laugh really hard, where it's a full body laugh. He made me laugh so hard. And I was like, rats. And he's funny too. We were going to see a movie after that, and it was about a half hour something away, and we had talked about, either carpooling or going individually to meet there. And I said, you know what? I want to see how safe this guy is as far as driving. Because in past relationships, my safety was compromised often, or it was used against me to make me feel afraid in the car or be trapped in the car. And I was like, okay, I'm not picking up any of those, I can't put my finger on it, things. But I'm definitely getting the sense that something about this man is different. And I wanted to find out what that was. And I wondered if that was going to be it. And sure enough, him driving us on the highway to the movies, he was focused. At some point, he even said, hang on a second, can you hold that thought? Like, he kindly shut me up so that he could focus on the highway. And I was like, you do your thing. Oh, I don't mind. Oh, please, don't mind me. I will shut up. Oh, my goodness. He didn't say shut up, but he said, he hold conversation so I could focus. And I was just like, I loved that. Very safety focused, and he got us there, and with a great movie. And we saw that old school Tremors movie, and the part that was jumpy, I grabbed the side of his shirt, and I'll never forget his arm going like, oh, opportunity, and grabbed my hand. Oh, and held my hand for the rest of the movie. Oh my goodness. Gentleman from start to finish. And when he walked me to my car, he said, hey, maybe for our next date, if you like rock climbing, I have a membership. Would you like to do that? I like rock climbing. That would be so much fun. And that was a surprise for me. I thought that was really neat. And I didn't expect him to actually hold up to that. All the other ones just kind of never made it to the second date. And so I tried really hard not to like this guy number 4. There was no way that he was not talking to like 5, 6 other girls, despite how cute and nerdy and I was like, I don't have a chance. And and that was what was hard, I think, for me too. Dating a good man is struggling with that thought constantly. The thought of, I don't deserve a good man like him. I'm not worthy of this or that, or what does he see in me? What does he want from me? He still wants to come over and spend time with me. He wants me to come over to his house and hang out with him and his parents and play on his parents' piano. And I'd be thinking like, who am I? And it's just kind of like, I need to give myself some credit too. But that's hard when you come from relationships where somebody constantly was telling you that you were stupid or ugly or pathetic, or because you didn't make enough money, you weren't enough, or because you weighed a certain amount that, you weren't enough, or there was always a very superficial conditional reasons that they were with you or that they would stay. Like you had to alter your behavior to be with them. And it's very different for my brain being around someone where I don't have to think about those things. My brain keeps wondering, when is he gonna raise his voice? When is he gonna throw something? Where's the pain? Where's the fear? And it's been 4 months now that we've been dating, and I can tell you, he has not raised his voice at me. He has not thrown anything at me. He has not called me names. He has never put me in a position of danger. And if there was ever even a sliver of a moment, he ensures that he almost wants to know about my past as much as he treads lightly and tries not to ask about it. But because he does not want me to relive any of those past memories that happened to me. And I think that's the mark of a good man, is how can I set up and create a safe environment for you. And the only way I can do that is not just with my own understanding of how to create a safe environment, but it's like you got to tell me what you need and where the unsafe places you've been, so that I don't compromise that, because I want you to look at me as your safe person. And wow. So that's even 4 months now, still getting used to that. I wonder if any of you out there are experiencing that. Like, are you dating someone who is a relatively healthy person? No one's perfect, of course, but someone that is not mentally ill and doesn't have a dark heart or ill will or an agenda. I know it's going to take time, but man, it's something else. So for those of you that are afraid to date after abuse and stuff like that, I want to encourage you to, if you can afford the time and such, to, even if it's just one counseling session, to do the hard work of going through your past, forgiving those who did cause you pain, so that you don't have to cause yourself pain anymore, so you can have a new start in a healthy relationship. And do you remember, those thoughts of, why does everybody else look so happy and I'm not? When you were in the toxic relationship, like wondering, like, oh, maybe I deserve this, and everybody else deserves to have a night, someone treat them right. Like, that is not normal. That was the first thing when I had 2 women from church pray for me, and I told them a lot of the things that happened in my past, and I told them I thought it was normal the way I was being treated, sometimes treated like an animal, less than an animal. Like, one small instance, an ex's dog ran out of a garage, and she was just excited that we had a visitor. She wasn't going to run away, and she came back, but because I opened the door and she ran out, I could see his hand raised in the reflection. I thought he was going to spank the dog, but he was actually coming after me, and he hit me instead. And that memory haunts me sometimes. Just someone thinking that you're less than an animal, and then dating somebody who looks at you like a person, someone to be loved for real. It's incredible. You're gonna fight it a lot. You're gonna fight it. You're gonna fight that receiving that love too, a lot. I do that a lot. And I hope I'll get over myself. Because it's no fun being in your own way. Especially when it comes to a real deal person. So Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and please share. I would love to hear your stories of where you've been, where you're at, where you're going, and how healthy relationships have looked at like for you. Um, post healing, or if you're still healing, I would love to hear your stories. All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of your night.